This is the Steinberg UR44 USB Audio Interface. It's built like a tank and it just refuses to die. But is it finally game over for my beloved audio interface? Hi, I'm Richard and I am your voice actor, and today we're going to look at my audio interface, the software, the hardware, and whether you need one at all. What am I doing with my hands? But first of all, this video is not sponsored by Steinberg. Reach out if you want to, Mr. Steinberg. Reach out. Now, I've used a few audio interfaces in my time, so what makes this one so great? First off, it is made by Steinberg, the legendary powerhouse of digital audio recording and the creators of such greats as Cubase, Nuendo, Wavelab, and Dorico. I said Dorico. Thank you. As well as a mind-boggling array of VST instruments and effects. Okay, so it's got the pedigree, but has it got the goods? The Steinberg UR44 is a 6-in, 4-out USB audio interface. There are 4 combo inputs on the front panel for mic or guitar or line, each with its own gain control and red peak LED, and 4 outputs on the back panel. There are actually 2 more line inputs around the back, as well as the stereo outputs and MIDI connections. It has Class A Yamaha D-Pre microphone preamps, 48 volts of phantom power, 2 headphone outputs, and if you want to geek out on the flowchart, pause the video now. And if you want to really geek out on the block diagram, pause the video now. So why did I choose this interface? Well, this UR44 audio interface was released in 2013, and I've been using it for about 10 years or so, but it has since been superseded, what a great word, by the UR44C with USB-C port complete with bus power and 32-bit audio resolution, whereas this older version only has USB-A connectivity, 24-bit resolution, and needs to be plugged into the mains. So you can't actually buy this model new anymore, but most of the features I'm going to talk about are valid for both models. It's got a rock-solid metal construction, and all the knobs and buttons feel like they really mean business. Although because of that, it's not great for traveling because it is quite heavy. It weighs about 1.5 kilos. That's about 3 pounds for the imperial people looking at you, America. Which is why microphones like the Rode NT1 5th Gen might just be putting these chaps out of business. I did a whole video about this microphone. You can watch that here. There are 2 headphone outputs with independent volume controls, which you can send independent mixes to via the software. More about that in a minute. So there's connectivity for days, and I have actually recorded a full band on this very interface, because not a lot of people know this, so don't tell anyone, but I'm also a musician. So having 4 inputs is really useful, because if I want to record, say, my acoustic guitar using these beautiful little Behringer C2 pencil mics, then I need 2 inputs, plus 1 more for the vocal. That's 3 inputs. By the way, if you would like to know more about these microphones and some of the other gear I got stashed away in the back, just let me know in the comments and I'll do a video about that. So you have to register the interface on the Steinberg website and then download a bunch of drivers and other stuff to make it work properly. But that's all pretty straightforward, if a little bit annoying. And part of that download is this, the DSP MixFX software. And you'll need this to set up the interface properly. But don't worry, it's pretty simple. By the way, the new UR44C has a much nicer looking graphic interface. This is starting to look a little bit dated now. Winamp, anyone? So you have a simple mixer with a channel strip for each channel with a simple compressor and an EQ, plus some pretty cool guitar amp sims for lead, crunch, clean and drive if you want to plug an electric guitar straight into the Hi-Z inputs. But there are no BEHS amps included. But I've never had the need to use any of those features. The only thing I've ever used the mixer for is to set up the headphone mixes, which is dead simple. You just set up your mixes 1 and 2, click the headphone icon to choose which mix goes where. Easy life. There's also a settings tab where you can set various other bits and bobs like your high-pass filter frequency and toggle the loopback feature, as well as a control panel for things like sample rate and buffer size. But once all that is set up to your liking, there's not much need to go back into it. And that's about it for the software. And although it does come bundled with Cubase AI, these days I exclusively use Reaper for voiceover and Ableton Live for music. And setting up the UR44 in both Reaper and Ableton was pretty straightforward. So, what's the verdict? Well, to be honest, I think it's a pretty great interface. The hardware is solid and the sound is fantastic. Full disclosure, The stereo outputs on the back have become a bit glitchy recently, but I think that's just a loose wire inside, and after all, I have been using it constantly for over 10 years. And the mixer software isn't much to write home about, but then again, I never use it, so no biggie. But yeah, it is a little bit overkill just for voiceover. If it's just you on your own doing voiceover, you need one mic input, one headphone output, and that's about it. Maybe some speakers. I'd probably go for something smaller and cheaper like the UR22. It has the same rock-solid metal construction, everything else is the same, just a smaller model. But I don't just do voiceover, I do music as well. So for me, this is perfect. But microphones like the Rode NT1 5th Gen are starting to make a bit of a splash in the world of recording for voiceover, and some would say making interfaces obsolete. But I don't think it's game over quite yet. Personally, I would recommend getting an audio interface because if you want a real professional sound, then you need control over your gain staging. If you don't know what that is, let me know in the comments. I'll do a video about gain staging. So there you have it. That's my audio interface, and that's what I like about it. My name's Richard, and I am your voice actor. And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like, and please consider subscribing. And YouTube thinks you might like this video, so give it a click.